those with children aged 8 to 18. When combined with screen use for work, that amounts to more than 9 hours each day. As most of us will freely admit, our concentration spans, our sleep habits, and even our conversational skills are negatively affected by over-reliance on interactive technology. So limiting screen time is a family-wide challenge and requires a family-wide solution. That's just what this book is designed to offer. Primetime Parenting outlines an evening plan to help parents navigate child-rearing and parental self-care in the digital age. Informed by the latest research in child development and cognitive science as well as ancient wisdom on what works best for children, it outlines a 2-hour routine that covers the bases of homework, family dinner, reading, bath time, and bedtime. Importantly, it leaves plenty of time for the parent to relax, refresh, and recharge themselves. Why devote a book entirely to school nights? As challenging as school nights are to tired parents, they are critical to the development of school-age children. Reconnecting with family, processing the events of the day, facing down the challenges of homework and nightly reading, receiving nourishment in the form of healthy food, parental attention, and lively conversation, and falling asleep at a reasonable time. All of these habits set the child up for success the following morning. Over time, they teach a child how to care for himself as well as how to care about others too. While the structure outlined in Primetime Parenting excludes screen media between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., I should make clear that I am an avid fan of digital technology. In fact, I've worked on cutting-edge educational technology projects throughout my career and have earned graduate degrees from MIT and Harvard Graduate School of Education, both leaders in the study and development of new educational tools. But after more than 2 decades of immersion in digital media, I simply believe that the best users of any form of technology know when to use it and when to switch it off. That's a lot easier said than done, especially where children are concerned. The prospect of cutting a child off from a social media app or video game can feel a lot like depriving them of oxygen. The ensuing temper tantrums and irritability are sure signs that children are spending too much time in front of screens. And if that doesn't convince you, a look at the data lays bare the facts. In 2018, the average American child spent 6 to 7 hours on digital media a day. The effects of all that screen time can include decreased powers of concentration, increased stress levels, difficulty controlling mood and behavior, poor eye contact, and low frustration tolerance. And that's before we get into what all those hours in front of screens displaces. After all, if a child is spending 6 to 7 hours in front of a screen, here's what she's not doing: playing with friends, drawing, building, reading, making things, working on puzzles, talking to family members, participating in sports, developing extracurricular hobbies and skills, completing schoolwork, helping out with chores, and sleeping. Our children's ability to develop into thoughtful, creative, and curious people depends on significant daily time engaged in worthwhile screen-free activities. When screen time nudges these aside, a child's social, emotional, and intellectual development is compromised. Tellingly, some of the very people who have created the technology that floods our lives set strict limits on their own children's use of it. Bill Gates has stated, "We often set a time after which there is no screen time, and in their case that helps them get to sleep at a reasonable hour." When asked what his children thought of the iPad, Steve Jobs famously replied in 2010, "They haven't used it. We limit how much technology our kids use at home." Hearing this, I was stunned. At the time, I was consulting in inner-city public schools, which were making massive investments in iPads. These schools saw it as a bid to traverse the digital divide. I remember a principal...